Good morning, good folks. Today, we're going to talk about deciding which things on your calendar should be recurring and which things shouldn't. It's a big topic here. But my
Yeah.
name is Rodney.
I'm Keith, and this is the More in Common Daily Chronicle. This week's Keith's Basement Week. This is where we chronicle our days, our journey to go where we're going, to balance all the things that we're balancing, to do the things we want to do in life, and ultimately chronicle that for our girls and for us to look back upon and learn from, and hopefully build some community around. So,
I just want to say, like, this recurring meeting thing has been a topic for me ever since I entered the professional world. And
Sure.
I feel like people over-index on making meetings recurring when they probably shouldn't. And then they become meaningless. Like, if it's the same meeting that nobody knows why it's on the calendar, or people don't typically make it, like, why is this recurring? So we're going to talk about how you determine what should be recurring.
Yeah, and I think the question really comes down to, how do you determine it for yourself? Like, we talked a little bit about scheduling yesterday and putting things on the calendar. And we talked about, like, my weekly Monday.
Yeah.
How do you decide what gets put there? And why would you even put a recurring thing?
Yeah.
So
you want me to answer
that?
Yeah,
I'm asking you.
I think it comes down to, I'm going to say priority. Like, if it is something that is foundational to other things that I'm trying to accomplish, then I'll make it recurring. For instance, scrum planning call or a team meeting at work that is used to review, pipeline or deals that need to move every week or every 2 weeks, or a check-in call to review the status of a project that has a finite end. So we need to keep meeting to make sure that we're hitting the marks. Like, I think that makes a lot of sense. And that people show up. Like, when people stop showing up, I'll send a note and say, hey, do we need to change this? Do we need to take this off the calendar? Do we need to find a new day? Do we need to find a new time? I think those are some of the keys for me. What about you, good set?
Yeah, I mean, when it involves other people, I think it's pretty straightforward. Generally,
You do.
I do. I think it's like, if I know we're going to need to meet more than once. Now, one thing that I've started to do, though, on that note is, if you have Outlook and you're using Microsoft technologies, there's this great function in recurring where you can set a start date and an end date.
Yeah.
I've actually started doing that because there's nothing, like, it gets to your point about it becoming meaningless. If you have this meeting that's on your whatever default end date, and all we need is a recurring meeting for 4 weeks. I did this with our brand consultant. Like, we were going to schedule for 4 weeks. Like, okay, that's been 4 weeks. And when 4 weeks is up, we'll reassess the need for this meeting. But more importantly, I think, is the reoccurring stuff for yourself, like my weekly planning, right? Like,
which
that
I'm
is a reoccurring
to my calendar.
Yeah, that is a recurring. But I think that's less of a that's less clear, right? Sometimes you're like, oh, I'm gonna every day, this is gonna be what I do, and then every day you end up snoozing it or dismissing it, and you're not paying attention to it, and you're ignoring it, and you're letting other things creep over it. I think it ends up being a trial and error. But I think what's really important about that, at least for me, I think what's really important is accepting it. It's like, oh, I really liked this idea, but it's not going to work. So,
right. Well, and then even asking why it didn't work.
Right. And maybe I need a different time, or maybe I need it less frequently, or maybe it really just turned out I didn't need it at all, and my habit has already been created, so I don't need that meeting to help me create the habit.
For instance, the gym for me. Like, I've tried working out at the same time every day, and for multiple reasons that doesn't work. Sometime at the beginning of the week, picking my spot sometimes it's early morning, sometimes it's midday, sometimes it's in the evening. But like, that works for me, and then I honor the time that I've selected. But like, just having a blanket, I schedule stuff over it. Like, it's horrible.
And then it actually, like, psychologically diminishes the workout, right?
Yes.
Because I've done the same thing. And to your point, I actually try to work out at 5:45 every day. if I don't work out at that time, then I'll put it on the calendar, like for when I'm going to work out
Mm.
later in the day, rather than having a reoccurring meeting, because like it becomes noise on my calendar and it just gets in the way.
Well, so this is interesting. So part of the reason why I put it on my calendar is for Rachel, so she can see when I'm working out,
Mm,
so that we're coordinating who's doing what when.
yeah,
Maybe I'm taking the kids to the gym with me, or maybe
yeah,
I just need 30 minutes so that I can do my workout.
yeah.
And then I wanted to say, you said scheduling with other people, and maybe this is a whole nother conversation, but I think that that is anything but simple. I feel like just some basic decorum is missing in the general recurring meeting with other people, like agendas, who should be there, why am I getting this
Yeah.
meeting, like I feel like that it's just I got so many recurring meetings from Microsoft on my calendar that like I don't actually, there's no reason for me to be there.
So you're talking about when other people put recurring
Yeah,
meetings on.
but I
Yeah.
think that plays into it because like, do
But
I
that
accept them?
plays into the principles that you try to apply. Like I try to, do we want to meet more than once? Like,
Yeah,
should I put a reoccurring meeting and what's going to be the agenda? I do
yeah,
this more with us than I do with Microsoft because I think
I
I
do
have
with
more.
everybody.
But yeah, there's always an agenda, right? It's like with our partners. I every the meet the it has the agenda on it each and every meeting,
Yeah.
and we level set like how frequently do we want to talk? Is it once every 2 weeks, once a week,
Hmm.
once a month? And really having that open communication rather than just
I
saying,
think it's helpful.
here, yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
What do you think? Do you care about recurring meetings, and how do you
Has
manage
your
them?
life become a never ending Ferris wheel of recurring meetings that you never attend?